Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a very special one. We're going to talk about my top 10 eyeshadow palettes that I've been loving for years. These are like the oldest palettes in my collection that I still reach out to, and I thought that it'll be interesting for you guys to know, like off screen, off camera, even on camera for that matter. I use old palettes all the time, but even on camera for that matter, I thought that it'll be interesting for you guys to know like which are the palettes that I reach for all the time. So if you're interested, let's begin. So the first two palettes that I am going to mention is from the same brand. So I'm going to mention it like very quickly because it's discontinued. You cannot find it now. A lot of these palettes have been discontinued. So just take it as a fun. If you have it, get it back in your collection because they're so amazing. So the first two palettes that I want to mention is from Odin's Eye, and it is from their legendary Diversa collection. I absolutely love Red Dragon palette and the Giant Wolves palette. I also do have the Hummingbird palette, but I have to say I use these much more than I use the other one, just because that is like super colorful, and this I use it a little more just because this Giant Wolves palette is definitely like completely me. It's very grungy. It is like full of jewel tones but muted tones. So if I want like a special eyeshadow to like amp up my look with colors, I generally do use this. And I love the multi-chrome which is included in it. I absolutely love this one. And the Red Dragon palette. Like I have absolutely fallen in love with this. This seems like a neutral palette, but it is full of special eyeshadows. This multi-chrome is absolutely gorgeous. These mattes are absolutely wonderful. I think the only shadow that I do not reach out to much in this palette is this green shade. That's it. Rest everything seems super nice. I wear this to office like quite a bit, I would say, and I love it. I absolutely love these tones. Might seem like you have over and over in your collection, but these are very unique shades in my collection. I love this palette, and Odin's Eye formula is definitely worth mentioning. I love the packaging, I love the eyeshadows, I love the formula. There's nothing bad to say about it, and I use this even today. Like I love these palettes. Okay, let's take the next eyeshadow palette out of the situation because you know that I love this palette and I mention it quite a bit on this channel. And this is from Dominique Cosmetics, and it is their Latte palette. This is definitely my favorite palette that they have in their collection. I know that they have discontinued this, but they are rebranding this is what I have heard, and oh my god. When I start using this, it's very difficult for me to stop using this because these shades are absolutely wonderful. Now when I'm even like seeing this, I kept it inside just because I was using and testing out a lot of other eyeshadow palettes. So I kept this inside my drawers. Once I'm seeing this, I'm like, yeah, keep it in my desk so that I can use this even more. Like I love to wear this in the office. I love to wear it in the special occasions too. The shimmers, there are only 3 shimmers in this palette, but there's such beautiful tones, and the mattes are like absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now the next eyeshadow palette that I have to talk about is from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and it is their Sultry palette. Now again, this is a discontinued palette, but if I'm reaching out for cool tone palette with neutral tones, this is the palette I'm reaching out for. Like the shimmers are absolutely out of this world gorgeous. I don't even know what to say. Like mattes I can do without, but I reach out for these shimmers over and over again. Like I absolutely love each and every shimmer that is included in this palette. I love that this is in my collection. Like I would have definitely missed if I did not have this in my collection. Really beautiful tones. And if you are a neutral lover and you have this in your collection, you would absolutely love it. Really such an amazing formula. I really miss like this format of Anastasia palettes when it was like $42. Now they've reduced the number of shades and they have increased the amount. Who needs that much amount? Like nobody. Reduce the prices and give it us in the same price level. I'll be up for it. By the way, have you tested out the Rose Metals palette and the Novo palette? Leave it down in the comment section below. Which out of these would be like your favorite if you are my skin tone? I'm eyeing their palettes and I'm super confused which one to buy. Okay, the next eyeshadow palette that I have to talk about is from Too Faced, and this is their Born This Way, the Natural Nudes palette. Again, a very neutral palette, but I use these tones over and over again. I love my pinky browns, and this is completely full of that. Like you can create some glamorous looks, everyday looks out of this palette, and this is such beautiful tones. I feel like this and one more palette that I'm going to talk about from Too Faced are like one among the top palettes that Too Faced has ever released. Like, I absolutely love this one. This for the neutral tones, the other one for like the colorful looks. I'll get to it right after this. But this is so very special. My favorite tones are actually Warm Rose Cocoa. I love Nude. I love Sparkling Sable and Truffle. Those are like my tones. I really, really love these ones. Yeah, even this white shade, when it's applied onto your eyes, it feels like wet. It's really pretty. If you can snag this baby at like a discounted price, like, I would highly recommend this. And the other eyeshadow palette that I was talking about is the Pumpkin Spice palette from Too Faced. Now, if they did colors well, they did it well in this palette. Like, I really love the color story. I love the variety that you can do with this palette. Like, you can create some gorgeous, gorgeous eyeshadows, and I love everything in this eyeshadow palette. Like, there's not one shade that I do not like. I absolutely adore this palette. And I feel like once they created this, then their creative brains have gone into like a basket. Yeah, bring something out like this, like creative like this. I'm waiting. On the same color story, I have one eyeshadow palette from Sigma, and this is their Corde Rosa palette. Oh my god. Whenever I'm using this palette, even though these are like years old, but whenever I'm using this palette, it feels glamorous. I love the tones. I love the corals and the pinks and the neutral tones. And the shimmers are so spectacular. Their shimmers, their mattes are super blendable. I use Corde Rosa shade as like one and done shade all over my eyelid, and I call it a day. Sometimes I just top it over with this shade, which is Bella the Ball. It's so pretty. Like, this whole palette is so pretty. I cannot recommend enough. Like, for Sigma eyeshadows, I have several of Sigma eyeshadow palettes in my collection, but I would say this and the Ambience are like my favorites out of the bunch. But it's like season. Like, sometimes in fall, I use the Warm Neutrals palette. I use this more in like spring and summer. Really pretty palette. Like, I love to use this palette. Okay, let's talk about another eyeshadow palette, and it's like a all shimmer palette. But from the time I've got this palette, it's very difficult for me to not to use it for like special shades. And this is from It's Well Cosmetics, and it is their Break the Rules palette. I'm pretty sure you've heard me talk about this palette several times over and over again. If you are a fan of duochromes, or if you want to test out duochromes and you don't know where to start here. These are some beautiful tones. And when Smithy hits pan in colorful shadows, you know that it is good. I have pan in this eyeshadow, this eyeshadow, this eyeshadow, and almost a pan hitting in this and this. Like, they are some beautiful toppery, shimmery shade with such a great amount of like shift, which doesn't look like obnoxiously like colorful. I think the theory behind it is just apply your neutral eyeshadow, whatever you are comfortable with, and just take one of these eyeshadow and tap it onto your eyes. It looks wet and sparkly and dimensional to another level. Like, I love, and I cannot recommend this enough. I have a coupon code with It's Well Cosmetics and Smithy Sony for 10% off, I think. I'll link all my coupon codes and affiliate codes, non-affiliate codes, everything in the description box below for you guys. And if you shop through my link, I really thank you very much. But yeah, even though you use my code or not, this palette is absolutely bomb.com. Okay, now let's talk about an eyeshadow palette, which when I open it, like, I feel so happy and so creative even to this day. And I feel like this is the best Anastasia palette to ever exist. And I mean every word of it. And this is the Jackie Aina palette, and these tones, oh my goodness, like, this is some beautiful tones. I love Lituation, absolutely love that one. I love Zam. All the mattes are super wonderful, super beautiful. Like, I love this shade, the red shade and the purple shade. There's nothing, absolutely nothing in this palette that I cannot use. And this is the palette that had helped me to fall in love with colors. Like, these all tones were like absolutely perfect for me. And yeah, I feel like Jackie made this palette for me. Like, I love these tones, and I feel so inspired when I look into these tones, and like, I want to wear it like every single day. If I could wear it, like, yes, I will wear this, like, happily. Like I love this palette. And last, certainly not the least, this palette, I almost use it every week. Like every week I dip into this palette, like without a doubt. And I feel like this palette has like some beautiful, perfect tones for every skin tone, I would say. And this is from Dose of Colors, and it is my Friendcation palette. Like I could not make this video without mentioning this palette because this is so beautiful. I love each and every matte that is present in this palette. I love each and every shimmer. It's reflective, it's dimensional, it's beautiful. I have hard pan going on this shade and this shade. And that's only because I feel like I rub it with my fingers whenever I'm applying it. It still works beautifully, but it's old. So that's why there's hard pan going on. But I dip into these mattes, I mean like crazily. Like mark my word, if Dose of Colors, if you were watching this, if you can get this palette back with the exact formula, I would highly appreciate it. Like I feel like people still would buy this because it's so beautiful. Like so beautiful. Absolutely love this one. Could not mention this. Love this one. Now, special mention to two other palettes. So if I'm traveling anywhere, I love to take like two smaller palettes with me. And I feel like I cannot travel without these palettes just because these do so much for me. And these are older palettes in my collection, but I often travel with this. The first one to mention is this from Pat McGrath, and this is their 5-pan eyeshadow palette when they used to do this like pencil box kind of a packaging. This is full of shimmer shadows, but these shimmer shadows are so spectacular, so beautiful on the eyes. I generally do take this eyeshadow palette along with like one of the neutral color story palette with me, and I feel like complete. I absolutely love each and every tone that is included in this palette. I love the bronzy tones. I love this duochrome, which is like red to green shifting shade. I love this for my inner corners, but it also has like a hint of green in it. I really love each and everything that is included in this palette. And the second eyeshadow palette that I generally take for traveling is this from Natasha Denona, and it is their Coral palette. Now I use this so often. Like I love this palette for so many reasons. If I have to take one palette, I take this. Just because I feel like I can use this as a blush, this is a highlighter, and of course you can use any of these on your eyes or face. I absolutely love the variety that you can create out of this palette. I can create some smoky looks, some everyday looks, and I love this coral and this red together. I love pairing it out. And the quality is absolutely wonderful. Of course, it is Natasha Denona. It's not a surprise to anyone that the quality would be amazing. But yes, those were the eyeshadow palettes that I really wanted to mention to you guys, and I wear it quite often in my everyday life. And if you have one eyeshadow palette that you cannot absolutely live without, which is like years old, do let me know in the comment section below. I am so curious to just find out like which is your like ride or die palettes in your collection. But yes, that's all for today, guys. If you did like this video, if you like older palette content, do give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.